mental illness was viewed as a parasite on society. If you were diagnosed with a mental illness, you were oftentimes mistreated and abused. But a prime example of that is right behind the Athens Lunatic Asylum, now known as the Ridges. This building was built 150 years ago using the Thomas Story Kirkbride plan. It was a design layout for facilities such as this that focus a lot on air circulation and exposure to light to help with rehabilitate their patients. Thomas Story Kirkbride ended up coming under fire later years due to his controversial scientific theories, oftentimes which were heavily disputed. In 1874, the asylum opened, and along with its opening, they began a decade-long project called the Healing Landscape. It was a farmland project where they began creating gardens, began investing in boats and other kind of therapeutic elements for the patients. But this ended up taking a turn in 1903 when they switched to the custodial care model, which began working towards more research-based treatments. And by the 1950s, this included things such as electroshock therapy, lobotomies, and oftentimes many disregarded and proven to be ineffective treatments. Many patients here were admitted on alcohol addiction, menopause, and tuberculosis, conditions often now very well understood and no treatments for it. Back then, especially in this asylum specifically, they were misdiagnosed and oftentimes mistreated. They were deemed as clinically insane, even though that wasn't the case. A lot of the patients admitted here were actually women with postpartum depression or just depression, and they were often labeled as insane and having hysteria, which we know nowadays is not the case. Many patients here ended up getting lobotomies, and roughly 2 to 5% of those patients that got lobotomies died. One of the unfortunate victims here at the asylum was a woman named Margaret Schilling. She was a fairly normal woman. She had children, and she lived a fairly normal life. But it was noted that after her mother died, she began, quote-unquote, acting strange. She was admitted here in 1978 in Block D, where on the December 1st of the same year, she would have escaped her cell during the night. The faculty would go looking for her, unable to find any trace of her. They searched the entire place and found nothing. But on January 12th, 1979, hidden behind a locked door on the 4th floor in the central part of the hospital, they found her corpse laying on the ground. The cause of death is unknown. It's believed to either be hypothermia or a heart attack, but it was a bit warm of a winter, so it's a little less likely to be hypothermia. Margaret Schilling is a sad reminder of our country's history with poor treatment. Here at Ohio University, we are reminded of this every time we look up at this hill with this building sitting here for 150 years. Its somber architecture, its wide open design plans remind us of the many untold stories that have gone through the halls of this building, never to be told again.